It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Columbia. This is Houston, AOS, over. Columbia, how you doing? Roger, setting up the flag now. Now, you can see the stars.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Maggio, joined by my co-host, Sean Geddes. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, what's going on, bro?
I mean, I feel like I'm getting by every day, and I feel like getting by is exactly what the Knicks are doing lately. So I feel like everyone's more or less on the same page right now.
Can we even call it getting by these days? Like, I guess we're in better spirits after like a friendly loss, but I'm kind of pissed.
Yeah, I mean, so last time you guys talked to us, I know we talked on a couple of the broader issues with the team. They just came off of this past weekend. Maybe the ugliest one of the season to the hapless Rockets that they should have. I mean, really, that was the time to really put your foot down and make a statement game. They did not. They escaped, and a win is a win is a win, as we always say. But I mean, what a disgusting, awful win that was. It took basically first half Fournier, and then big shot Burks down the stretch. Fourth quarter, Burks taking over. I think he had like 17 of his 20-point. Like almost all of his stats were accumulated in the fourth quarter. He had
Literally.
mad steals, mad assists, everything was on the fourth. It was just literally Alex Burks show. Every possible action that could have happened on the court was almost taken by Alex Burks, which was, first 10 games you almost couldn't have played as bad as he did, and now these last 10, really, I mean, he's come on really, really strong, which is great. So shout out Alex Burks for saving that game, and that was excellent. But the Bulls game was the freshest one. I want to start there at least, but I thought it was a good loss. I know that's tough to say this season. We've been really angry about a lot of losses, but I don't know why people act like Chicago's not good, first of all. And there's this weird thing since the preseason where people are angry at the Bulls for having improved, and we've been arguing about who improved more, who's actually better, whatever. Regardless of how you feel about them, they're real good, man. I mean, they're going on West Coast road trips and kicking ass. It doesn't matter who's playing, not playing. They're beating teams up. They're getting it done. The defense has largely been pretty good over there, and offensively, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are just doing disgusting things to teams most nights. Last night, RJ did a pretty decent job on DeMar again. I thought that was probably the highlight of RJ's game, was playing defense and rebounding well. And we will talk about RJ's struggles in large soon. But I thought it was a pretty all right loss. I mean, Julius Randle's got to be your main cog, your engine, right? And it almost seemed like no matter what Julius did this season, somebody had a problem with it. If he was being aggressive but taking shots he took last year, right? Everyone had a problem with it because it was all of a sudden he's missing the mid-range. So don't take any mid-range. We don't want to see it. This is bread and butter last year, but we don't want to see it, right? Okay. So he stops doing those. He takes 10, 11 threes, hits 4 of them. Everyone's just like, well, you can't only take threes. What is this? This is ridiculous. You got to be more aggressive. Despite the fact that he was very passive and setting his teammates up, then that was a problem too, right? But then last night, where he goes, okay, you know what? I hear you guys. I'm just going to attack. I'm just going to attack the rim. I'm going to get these but they successfully got mismatches too. Now, Chicago's playing a little bit smaller lately, just in general with injuries that they have. Pat Williams is out. But it was successful switching that happened last night, which we haven't seen the Knicks really be able to pull off. A lot of times Randle gets stifled with some of these bigs and things like that, and they don't really help him out with these actions getting blown up. But it seemed like every trip down, they successfully got Julius on whoever he wanted, Lonzo Ball, whoever, and he was just going down into the post. Derek Jones Jr., doesn't matter. Get out of here, right to the rim. Get into the line, hitting a bunch of threes, keeping it simple. And it was really nice to see. He needed to have a good game, scoring the basketball, and he did. So in terms of that happening, I was pleased. In terms of the shots we played, we got in large, I was pleased. If RJ Barrett remembers how to score the basketball, we probably win that game. To me, it's kind of that simple. So I don't mind losses like that when pretty much everything goes according to the game plan. including your star stepping up like Julius did. But I mean, what did you see last night? Yeah, I know everybody seems to have a reactionary or just an angry take after a loss or things not going the way we want right now. But I mean, what's in your brain right now after this strange weekend of Knicks basketball?
Well, as you said, that the win against I was more upset with the win against the Rockets than I was with the loss against the Bulls. I thought that we allowed a team that wasn't a good basketball team to put us in a dogfight, and we had to be dragged out of it by Alec Burks having an insane quarter, and that was really annoying. But yesterday, I mean, we were like you said, the game, it went according to the game plan. We saw Julius have a game that, because honestly, I was getting to a point where like it was like, okay, what is like, does Julius remember how to do what he did last year? Like he's like in a different situation now. The starters are all jumbled and blah blah blah. There's no continuity in the lineup. It's like, has this made it so he can't get to the same spots he did? Because I didn't know what there was. He wasn't playing with that fire that like, it was a lot of a mental thing. And so yesterday I feel like he still had some lapses defensively, which were sort of annoying, but like he was in a whole different mindset. It looked like the Julius we saw last year. And that was very refreshing. And I know if it made me feel better, it had to make him feel better. I mean, with where we were able to get him the ball, some of the actions we used, some of the ways he was able to operate within the mismatches, he was able to, he got a lot of good looks for guys yesterday too. I mean, he had 34 on 13 for 19. He was really efficient, but he created good opportunities for guys. It just, he was creating to people that weren't hitting any shots. I mean, RJ hasn't hit a shot in like, outside of those 3 threes in the fourth quarter against Indiana, RJ hasn't hit a shot since like, I don't know. It's been like 3 weeks. It feels like it's ridiculous. It's very painful. It's very sad. Evan Fournier had one good game against the worst team in the NBA and went right back to stealing money. So, it must be tough to shoot through a ski mask. I understand. And then Emmanuel quickly was 1 for 8 from 3, I believe. So it's just like, who is he really kicking it out to? I don't think Derrick Rose. So, he had a really good game. That game would look a lot different if other guys were hitting shots. And like you said, if RJ starts hitting shots, that's a win. And that's the part that's most frustrating about the way that RJ's playing. I mean, I'm used to Evan Fournier being asked. He's been doing it quite consistently, and it is what it is. I would like to just move on from him and play somebody else those minutes. But with RJ, like, we're so heavily invested in him, and there's a difference. And I want to make that clear because I feel like people are very quick to heap on RJ, and I, as an RJ defender, as an RJ stan, like I'm very objective. He's playing like shit. He's shooting like shit. It's terrible. But let's not act like, because people in my mentions like, oh, when are you gonna say that about RJ? And it's just like, bro, like I said, he's shooting like shit. What more do you want me to say?
All the time we say it. All the time.
Yeah, we're the first ones to say it most times.
Folks get upset when my issue with folks with this discourse, most of it's always online, and I always come on this podcast and complain about it, is because you can't ever like just say, oh, I noticed this one part of their game right now is like second. Like, for example, last 2 weeks, RJ played like dog shit both sides of the ball. Both sides. It wasn't just shooting the ball. Played no defense. It was awful. Awful. Bad gambles, late rotations, lackadaisical shit. Like, he's always so sharp. It was so noticeable, right? So you got to do better, period. But even like, for example, we were talking about the Randall struggles too. And it's like, for me, for a while, it was like, yeah, I mean, I would like to see maybe a little bit more defensive energy at times. But at the same time, we know what the scheme is with helping off the corners. In the paint, they ranked amongst the tops, right? With interior defense at the rim. So I was like, I mean, interior D, they've kind of statistically stacked up well enough. We're getting bombed from 3. So, I mean, that was my big issue. And then even in the Rockets game, Randall had 9 assists. What I've been saying on this podcast for weeks is if the backcourt, anybody that's a guard or forward makes 3-pointers, he's going to have assists. He's leaving potential assists on the table every night. He's averaging 5. He's probably generating between 10 and 12. I mean, he's not going to get all of them every single night, of course, but you can't miss them this many shots. This is RJ, Evan, everybody. Kemba, we've been talking about it with all those guys. So, obviously when you make shots, somebody's line might look a little bit better. Like 16, 10, 9, you only had 2 turnovers in that game. But like, guys got to like, people get angry when, I'm the biggest Randall defender, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you can't shoot 4 or 15 either in the Rockets game. Like, you just can't. You're Julius Randle. You can't. Especially when before this, you're shooting like 4 or 15 every game. So it doesn't, again, like I said about RJ, it's great that you rebounded. It's great that you were playing good defense, but scoring the basketball is most of the game. You're not scoring the basketball. It's not 50-50 because you're doing other stuff, but people don't Nobody wants to just go bucket by bucket with these players. Everybody just wants to be like, well, Julius is missing shots, so Julius only sucks. He's the reason that this is bad. RJ, RJ misses his shots last night, but nobody talks about the defense or the rebound. It's just RJ had a bad game again. And like I get it to an extent, but everybody just wants you to like quickly like turn and be like, this guy sucks now. Everything's awful. Everything's got to be game by game, week by week.
I think it's disgusting, honestly. And I've always thought it was disgusting. And it's one of the more disgusting parts of not only the fan base, but I guess humanity. Like, I don't experience this in other NBA fan bases. I'm not a part of them. But it's just like, now I'm seeing trade. I saw so many trade machine screenshots with RJ Barrett included today. And I want to fight. I'm not going to lie. Like, personally, I want to fight. And stop. Because then these same people, when he's back on, whenever he gets back on, listen, this is too long of a slump, 100%. Like, it's very annoying. It's very frustrating. And like you said, it was on both sides of the ball at a point. Last night, he played great defense. And it'd been a while since we saw him on like a primary wing like that. Like, I think one of the last people we saw him on was Zach, honestly. And he did a great job on Zach last time. He did a great job on Zach this time, held him to under 30% both times, stopped him at the baskets, denied the ball well, stopped him on the perimeter. Like, what more can you ask for defensively? Then he went and got 15 boards. Like you said, the Kobe thing. I'm not hitting anything. All right, I'll just crash the boards. 15 boards, great defense. That game is an amazing game if he knocks some shots down. He just has to knock shots down. So we can say that. We can say he's shooting terribly. We can say we need more from him offensively. We don't have to turn that into he sucks. Will he ever be an all-star in his career? Like, oh, he's not the guy. We need to trade him. Like, bro, stop. That is disgusting, and it pains me to share a fan base with people like that. So please cut it out.
Yeah, I mean, he's 21 years old. I'm not even trying to do the forever patience thing because I'm always the first one to not have any patience with guys. It's a results-oriented business. You got to put up results. Shit changes all the time in this league, all the time, constantly, right? This is my thing. A lot of people ask us questions about why are we so reactionary about Burks or Fournier and not guys like this. And it's like, well, it's simple. It's always, to me, it's very simple. I feel like, everybody likes to make fun of me for this, but it's very simple. Those guys are like obviously role players, like obviously not like there's a cap on how good those guys are going to be and how big of a role that they're ever going to be in for any team, right? RJ is still 21. RJ is still, you're supposed to be molding his role out a bit. So to me, that's part of my issues is when like, okay, well, Evan Fournier, like he's 31 years old, right? Like, and this is part of why I had issues with Fournier before the season and with that big contract that everybody likes to reference my 78 million American dollars for Evan Fournier tweet that everyone asked me for an update for after game one. And I haven't gotten any updates back since then, which is very strange. I'm just wondering aloud what happened to everybody. I was wondering. I had to recant publicly. Everybody comes after me. I got to recant. I got to say sorry. Sorry, guys. I thought it was too much money. Sorry. And then here we are 2 weeks later. We're not even at game 20 yet. And he's stinking it up most of the night. I mean, but those guys, like, they don't do anything else. Like Fournier can't dribble. Fournier can't create. Everybody likes to talk about the creating and this passing in the half court. I don't see it because he goes into the half court. Anytime he steps in the 3-point line, I know he's throwing up some bullshit every single time. He's going to throw up he can't get around anybody. He runs into whichever defender he sees first. He throws something. It always goes off the backboard first. If you ever notice, it's always off the backboard. It clanks off either the back of the rim, the side of the rim. Hopeless. He doesn't even there's not even any finesse. It's just like his body gets stuck and he hoists something up and then it goes off the backboard. It's disgusting, bro. Just catch and shoot. And if you don't catch and shoot, 1 dribble, 2 dribbles, either direction, make a decision, pull up that way, pass it. That's it. His role should be very clear. Like, they shouldn't let him do nothing else in practice. Like, this meandering with the basketball, I hate that stuff, right? But, like, RJ, I would rather struggle that way than Fournier because RJ has to figure that shit out. RJ is very strong. We've seen RJ take over games. We've seen RJ throw his body around. When they give him more space to operate in terms of letting him be an initiator and run off the pick and rolls, like that to me has got to be a regular part of the offense. You got bigs to run it. We've seen RJ play briefly with some bench units a little bit more. He should be playing with Obi then. If you ran the pick and roll with him and Mitch when they're starting, you run the pick and roll with him and Obi. To me, this is like simple basketball that can get your guys going. Like even the stuff with Randall last night. Sometimes that's what you need, right? Like we just talked about at the top of the pod. All right, finally, right? It felt like Randall had the right approach. And even when he was passing it, guys were passing it right back to him or vice versa. It was like real give and go type stuff. You got to simplify the game sometimes. And, RJ mostly just needs to make jump shots, really. Like he's getting open looks, the same looks he's always got. He's just got to make the jump shots. Like primarily, that's points 1A, B, C, D, and E for me. But like after that, it's like you could stand to get him a little bit better going downhill again. It can't always just be he grabs the rebound and goes in transition. Sometimes, yeah, reset it up top after you do your normal hand. They love the handoff action. They love the pistol. We talk about it every single time in the spot. But you could do more stuff with RJ. It's fine. I'm always fine with that stuff with Randall, with how dynamic he is to start the possession. But if it doesn't work, which sometimes it doesn't, it should be a quick reset to RJ and go. But it doesn't go that way. They kick it out to Kemba again or Fournier again, and then they haven't been producing. So to me, that's where a lot of these starter minutes, everybody likes to reference the minus numbers for like Randall and other guys. When your backcourt gives you like 10 points every night, your big upgrade at backcourt, like no offense, like Reggie Bullock could have done this. Reggie Bullock could have just stood there and just jacked up threes and played some defense. Like I'm not even trying to like go all the way back into that wormhole, but like, hey man, you paid a lot of money, second highest paid player on the team. You can't do this often. You just can't. So I mean, I'm not even saying ban Fournier, but it's like, yeah, I mean, why don't we at least try to get him some runs with the bench units? You know what I mean? It's like little shit like that. It's frustrating, man.
I just don't know what it's gonna take. And I'm right, but I know that one win we got, Ryan hit me up before he put the video out and he was like, hey, I used a clip of you, like, is this okay? And it was me saying Tibbs is an asshole. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, because I did say it. And I still stand by it, yo. Tom Thibodeau is an asshole. Like, it's really frustrating. Like, he just refuses to adjust. He's incredibly stubborn and he's in his own way, and it's really disappointing. And I watched him do it for 75 games last year. It was the most obvious move that needed to be made. He refused to make it no matter what happened. And the other thing about it, it's like, because what's really bothering me lately, everybody always talks about like how relentless the New York media is. Where is that? Like, what's going on? I know Berman asks all kind of bullshit questions all the time, trying to stir the pot. Stir the pot with a good question, bro. Like, ask why. Last year, nobody would ask why he won't bench Alfred. This year, nobody will ask why he won't play Obi more. Like, ask him a question that needs to be asked, because I need answers, because it doesn't make any sense. For Mitchell Robinson, Taj Gibson to both be out, Nerlens Noel to be in foul trouble almost the entirety of the game, and Obi Toppin to still play 13 minutes, literally doesn't even compute. Like, I don't even know how you manage to do that. Like, if I was playing 2K and I had to figure my rotations out, and Mitchell Robinson and Taj Gibson are both out, and Nerlens got in foul trouble, I'm not even sure how I could only give Obi 13 minutes. So I'm almost impressed by it. Like, he is so dedicated to his stubbornness that he will go out of his way to hold back our top 10 pick from last year, who has shown all of the growth that we've been asking him to show on both sides of the ball. So I'm just really like at my wit's end with that, because it also seeps in everything else. Like, Evan Fournier is out there doing absolutely nothing and still playing and still starting. How long do we have to watch him start as the second highest paid player on the team, shooting? I mean, who knows what the percentage is? It's still under 30, even with that one good Rockets game. And it's just really, really disappointing. Like, over the past 10 games, he's probably shooting like 27%. And it's unacceptable. And like you said, like, RJ shoots poorly. Yes, hate it. But we want to see more things from RJ. RJ has to develop other things. He's 21 years old, and he's doing other things on the floor, such as really good defense and rebounding. Evan Fournier is providing nothing. And I agree with what you said. Like, I can't clamor for it as loudly, but we do need to put RJ in different situations. We do need to help him out more. We do need to have him get more creation opportunities, put him in more high pick and roll, like leaning. The jumper's not falling right now. And RJ is very important to this team. Like we said, if RJ hit some shots yesterday, we win that game. So I think that as a coach, first of all, we should have leaned into these things while RJ was playing well. But whatever. Can't go back and fix anything. But right now, you need RJ to perform. So why not help him? Like, start running more of the high pick and rolls to get him going downhill and get into a good rhythm, be able to finish uses. He's not finishing either though, so it's like everything. Like I said, I can't really be loud about it right now. He's not playing well,
It's
so I
bad.
understand not putting the ball in his hand. Like he's been playing really bad, so I can't say, hey man, he's playing really bad. That's another thing. We cannot continue to make excuses for RJ. Like, so while I do feel like he'd be better off if we used him better the same way we should have done while he was playing well, I understand now not putting the ball in his hand while he's playing like shit. Like, you can't be like, all right, man, you have been playing like shit for 2 weeks, but here are the keys to the offense. It doesn't work that way. So he's going to have to earn that. But I just think that, using him as primarily as a spot up shooter while his jumper is falling off a cliff isn't doing him or the team any favors. And I'd like to see Tibbs get creative with something, whether it's a lineup, whether it's the rotate, like get creative with something. I'm not really seeing much creativity out of him, and it's frustrating, and I believe it's holding us back. And I still can't imagine why he's not playing Obi over 15 minutes, let alone 20. Man, quickly isn't getting enough minutes in my opinion. Excuse me, but I don't know. Thank God, I want to be very loud. I'm trying to say as many times as possible. Alec Burks is playing very well. I no longer want his minutes taken. I just have to make that as clear. People think that when we say things, it's like a blanket statement, like, oh, Alec Burks sucks, so never play him. It's like, no, I said he was playing like shit because he was. He's no longer playing like shit, so I don't want him to not play. Like, it's pretty simple.
I just don't get the receipt keeping on every player all the time. I get it for the main guys, right? Like the main guys, I would think it makes more sense. I always think that's a little more fair. But if we're clamoring for a bench player who's not playing well for 10 consecutive games to maybe get less minutes in favor of another bench player who's playing better, it's not. I mean, what are we doing? Wasting our time, bro. It's not like we're arguing. Even when he starts playing better, right? It's like he should start now because Fournier is doing nothing consistently for almost 20 games. He's doing nothing. So if Burks is suddenly coming on strong these last 10, Quick mostly is playing pretty well. I mean, to your point about the minutes, right? He did get 25 last night. If he plays north of 25, I'd like to see 30. If he plays north of 25, especially given the Obi situation, I'm going to be okay most nights. He went 1 for 8 from 3 last night. He still finished with 12 points. If he just makes half his shots, he has a nice 20-point outburst off the bench. I mean, the normal shit we would expect from him. He just didn't get it going. Shit happens. At least he was playing. At least they let him jack up a bunch of threes. Honestly, that's all that I usually normally care about, especially for young players. He got his reps. He got his minutes. If we're not getting Obi, I'm going to give Tibbs that one at least. But my only real issue with that discourse in general is just, if you want to keep my receipts for the Fournier shit, if he starts going on fire the rest of the year, fine, drag me. I don't give a fuck. If whatever Randall or RJ we say on that shit, but bench players, you guys got too much time in your hands to be worrying about what we said in game 1. And the other thing too is people forget we live tweet, bro. We live cover all the games. Okay, we're tweeting about plays all the time. A specific play sometimes, a specific stretch, a specific quarter, a half, a game or two at a time. These, like you said, these are not blanket statements and endorsements that are never changing. All of our opinions are changing all the time based on who's playing well, who's not, because that is sports. I feel like sometimes we got to go macro in this podcast because people get too bogged down in nonsense. That's sports. If you're not playing well, we don't want you to play as much. If you're playing well, we want you to play more. That's it. In the NFL, that's how it works. In baseball, that's how it works. In soccer, that's how it works. In basketball, that's how it works. We can do this for every single sport. Bad players, guys who are struggling immensely for a sustained period of time, that's how this works. In the context of the roles, especially. That's all. Just it's an exhausting. I mean, you guys got to do better, just a little bit better.
It's really simple. And I had somebody who was when I said I think you tweeted it. You were like, who would you rather have start, IQ or Burks? And I was like, or I take either right now. And I was like, well, I pick IQ, but I'm down for Burks too. He's playing much better, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody's like, oh, be consistent. You say now you want Burks to start after you talked all that shit about him, blah, 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 blah. And I've gotten out of character a couple of times the past week, and I'm not really proud of it. But he took it well. I like when people take it well. I was just like, apologies in advance for calling you a dickhead, but don't be one. I was like, when did I say I wanted Burks to start? I actually said I wanted IQ to start, but I will take Burks because he's playing better than Fournier is right now. Fournier is playing like shit. The stuff I was saying, I haven't said a negative thing about Alec Burks in 2 weeks. It's like we play 3 times a week, probably. Like, yeah, over the course of games, and it's objective. Like, if you go back and look, Alec Burks wasn't playing well. Like, it's not like he was dropping 25 a night, and I was talking shit about him. So to go and point out that I said these things while he wasn't playing well, and act like I can't. So because when he wasn't playing well, I said he wasn't playing well. Now when he scores 17 points in the fourth quarter, I can't say he did. Like, I think people are so used to wanting to die on hills and never be wrong. Like, I'm cool. I love when I get shut up. I do. I said all that shit about Fournier, and it honestly gained more traction than I foresaw. And like I feel like he heard me. And then he came out and he hit 5 threes. And I was like, all right, cool. You think I want Evan Fournier to be bad so that I can be right? That's not the case at all. Like, I would love to be shut up every single time. I hate post-game pouting, to be honest. Least favorite show in the world. I only like post-game prosperity. I don't even I don't like having to make clips and put it on a timeline, me complaining. Like, win, play well. And then I don't have to say these things. But I mean, we just cover the games as they happen. We live tweet them. We talk about them after the game. So it's like, if you play poorly in this game and then this game and then this game, that's going to be 3 straight games of you playing poorly. That's a week of you playing bad basketball. What are we supposed to say?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it always comes down to. And yeah, welcome to my world, pal, where everybody's always mad at you all the time for everything that you say. It doesn't matter. Everybody's just waiting. I always notice too, a lot of times I'll tweet stuff, nobody says nothing. And then I'll tweet one thing that everybody hates, and then I just start getting dunked on left and right. It's like, guys. And it's always stuff where I end up being right about later on. And then I just gotta sit here like this all the time, right? Like the Frank stuff went on forever, right? And I always got dunked on, right? Where's Frank now? Everybody's going nuts every night. I go and check the box score, 2 points, 3 assists, a couple steals. Oh, so you mean the same exact thing that he was doing here? All right. You know what I mean? Impact, baby, right? That's always the argument. I mean, all right, guys, fine. The 48 thing too. I get yelled. Game 1, like I told you, I got yelled at. And again, silence. He shoots 1 for 7 yesterday. His percentages are down to 40% from the field, 35% from deep. I mean, you got paid a lot of money to not do that. And really on the Fournier note, I again want to ask out loud, what Fournier people watched the last decade? It's an open question. It's an honest question, because folks love to act like I didn't watch any games in Orlando. I watch a lot of games. I work from home. My day starts with watching at least condensed games from the night before. At least. A lot of the times I'm watching full possessions of games. I've seen a lot of Evan Fournier, man, especially once everybody wanted him for multiple seasons. There's a reason they just let him meander aimlessly in Orlando forever as a second banana that nobody ever traded for, when that entire team was always on the trade block. Like, it's just kind of what it is. I mean, he's fine. He's fine sometimes with scoring, but this, oh, well, how could he be part of good Orlando defenses if he doesn't play good defense? I don't know. Watch the fucking game, because he doesn't play good defense. Sometimes he has a little bit more high energy, which is fine. A lot of the times he's dying on screens and he's chasing people, right? And this is consistent with my energy for Elfrid Payton, who we spent 2 whole seasons being upset that he was dying on screens and chasing people. If you see the theme here, it's that no matter who the person is wearing the laundry of the Knicks in a game, I am going to be upset if you're dying on screens and chasing people. When RJ was doing the same thing, I was upset about it. Don't do that. Just maybe be better. And if you can't be better, why'd you get $80 million? That's it. It's a simple question. It's a fair question when you get a big payday, the biggest one of his career, at a strange time in his career to be getting it. I didn't think anything about his season last year. Said I got to throw $80 million at this guy, but we did it. Okay. Everybody said we got a 4th-year option. That's great, man. We're in year 1, and then we still have years 2 and 3 after this. And based on the first 20 games, I'm not excited for 82 full games next year or the year after. So, again, to your point, we're not trying to actively hate guys, but it's like, hey, man, sometimes some questionable shit, and we're allowed to be like, this is questionable. We're allowed to feel that way. If you want us to be cheerleaders all the time, ask me politely. But Kyle, can you just be a cheerleader? I want a cheerleader. I want to follow you and know that you're only going to tweet 100% positive things about the guys that I like. And then you could give us a short list of who those guys are. I'll make a note of it. I won't be mean about those guys. And then we'll all start getting along better. I don't know what you want me to do. we assess the game of basketball as being played. You get paid to be the second highest paid player on the team. We lose by 6. You go 1 of 7. I'm upset about it. That's how I work forever. If you listen to this podcast, which has covered a lot of tremendously awful basketball and tremendously awful players. So if anybody knows about bad basketball and bad players, it's us on this podcast. So yeah, I mean, just be a little bit better. But again, not to be all doom and gloom because little things were happening. Kemba had a brief stretch in the third where he and Julius looked like the chemistry was getting a little bit better. That was good. We saw 26 whole seconds of Quentin Grimes. Looked like maybe one whole full possession, which is better than the 0 possessions we were getting prior. So with Tibbs, that feels like a small victory worth noting. I gotta just at least bring it up. They did go small briefly. I'm just going through my notes here. They went small briefly for a small period of time. And when they weren't small, like I said, they attacked the mismatches. So, I mean, I didn't have a ton of issues with it other than, guys got to make shots. If RJ makes even a little bit more shots yesterday and Fournier makes, even, I mean, they shot 3 for 19 combined. To me, that's the whole ball game when you lose by 6. I mean, you can't be looking at your breakout player, your rising star, and your second highest player, your biggest addition from this offseason, and they do that. It's just that's the game. And when we talk about the starting unit problems this season, that's the theme. There's multiple guys who aren't just off a little bit; they're off all the way. We can't keep getting all or nothing out of these guys. Like Julius finally has a great game, and it's not enough. We got all the looks.
Nobody else in the starting lineup with double digits.
I mean, it's disgusting, right? I mean, even like we're talking about, quickly struggled a little bit, and he still had 12 points, right, which was third highest yesterday. I mean, that's not. It's like if you were playing fantasy this week, and everybody's like, "Wow, congrats to all the fantasy managers out there who had Jonathan Taylor this week," and then there's always one guy who's just like, "I had him and I still lost." That's almost what you're looking at yesterday. If I would have told you, like, yeah, bro, against the Bulls, promise you, Julius is going to have 34, 10, and 3. He's going to kill it. He's going to kill the Bulls. You'd be like, oh, yeah, we probably won that fucking game, right? And then you look at the box score and you're like, so nobody else. Nobody else is going. Okay, excellent.
Nobody else.
This is the problem. If you look at the plus minus with the starter, this is why it's always bad. The whole unit. It's the whole unit. It's always 2 or 3 guys at a time. I mean, even Kemba, that was like a better flow of the game for Kemba. 7 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, it was only 18 minutes, but even then, it's like.
And that all happened in that like third quarter stretch, like almost all. I think all 7 points and probably like 3 of the assists were in that third quarter stretch, which was weird because he played a really good third quarter, got us going, and I liked the way the starters looked when Kemba. Like, I think we need to have less of Point Julius. I think for everyone's benefit. Yeah, I think for everyone's benefit. I think having him as the primary ball handler, like on walk-up possessions, is unnecessary, or at least as many of them, because especially when guys aren't hitting shots. Like we said, you got to play in the guy's strengths, especially like shots aren't falling right now. So just having him generate everything and kick it out to a bunch of guys who are 1 for 9 isn't helping anybody. So I like the way we looked when Kemba was running it. They got that pick and roll going. I love when they run that pick and roll. They had one where it was like from the left side, Julius rolled, Kemba slipped the pass, and Julius came through and dunked it. Like, I would like to do that at least 3 times a game. Like, and I feel like that's possible. Like, that's something we can do more often. It's not very difficult. Like, we just don't do it very often. So I would like us to try to lean into that because I feel like it makes us a better team and allows us to, it gets Kemba into a rhythm, gets Julius into a rhythm. We saw that, and then Kemba didn't come back in the game. I'm not going to cry about it. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense, especially when last night wasn't like a huge Derrick Rose night. I think that Kemba should have came back on the floor after how well he played in the third quarter and how that kind of paced us in that second half. That was one of our best third quarters in a while. We came out and it seemed like, okay, like we know that we kind of collapsed in third quarters. We came out strong. We kind of punched them in the mouth a bit. We were playing well defensively. We were moving the ball offensively. And we just, I don't know. I don't really get the logic behind certain things. Like, I don't understand why Kemba didn't come back in. I don't understand why or how Obi only played 15 minutes. Those things don't make sense to me. But I would like for us to see the things that work well in a vacuum and expand upon them. So it's like, at this point, we should see more of the Kemba Julius pick and roll when we start games. because it worked. I don't think that we should see things that work, especially as a guy who is always in his office, as they say. You know, he's obsessed with basketball. He's watching all the film. You watch all this film and keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like, what are you watching the film for? You may as well just not watch the film. Just coach the game, move on. You're not going to adjust. Just keep going. Why are you wasting your time watching the film?
Yeah, I mean, the whole offseason approach was to get Julius Randle help so that he didn't have to do all of the tasks all of the time. And it seems like they just want to do that again. And then now we're back to, and that's why I'm, you know, and again, I always admit it on the podcast. I don't care to ever get into it on Twitter anymore. I know I'm a Randall apologist. I understand this, but at the same time, it's because they ask him to do so many things every single game that I'm almost like, I try to always view it in that lens of like, okay, so you refuse to really run the offense through that many other guys or that many other actions. And then at the same time, when he does pass it, which is pretty frequent, everybody loves to act like, I see this thing too, where everybody gets at Julius for over dribbling, but nobody mentions like Evan over dribbling, which is very strange to me. Julius always has the most passes, almost always has the most potential assists, always has. I mean, he's moving the ball. He's finding wide open shooters. If guys don't make shots every single game, all the time, I can see why. Yeah, then like the Julius games look worse. Okay, so if I'm passing to my new shiny upgrades and nobody hits shots, what do you want me to do? You know, I mean, I forgot who. I feel like there was a report or a rumor anyway that some of the premier Knicks, which could only mean like two Knicks, in my opinion, you know, Randall or RJ, were complaining about the offense a little bit. And it's like, yeah, man, I mean, if it's Randall, I would understand. It's like, yo, he's getting fried out here most nights on Twitter or online anyway. It's like, what do you want him to do? You pay the money to get this guy help. The only adjustment we saw in the playoffs last year was like, wow, okay, they load up on Julius. Playmaking fours are great for the regular season. It gets tough with how certain teams can scheme against you in the playoffs, and he's got to get help, especially from deep. Okay, and again, my recanting of the Fournier thing was more I like the approach that they had once I saw the Kemba thing, the Kemba signing, right? But then even with Kemba, you guys can't keep giving nothing. So, you know, it's gonna be tough. But like you said, they got to be able to mix it up. And again, if you're not gonna mix the lineups up, that's fine. But there's actions you can mix up. How many times we come in this pod and say we would love to see more pick and rolls? We would love to see pick and rolls as a regular action, a secondary action, and it feels like we can go quarters without seeing it. And that's weird to me. That's nuts to me because I feel like even if guys are off, you have enough guys who can handle the basketball and run the pick and roll. Kemba can run a pick and roll. Julius can run a pick and roll. RJ can run a pick and roll. Fournier, for as much as everybody thinks I only slander him, he does nice things in two-man games, at least in terms of running certain actions, with whether it's the handoffs or the pick and pops, or we even saw, again, it was rare, but they ran a few Spain things earlier in the season where he was able to fly off and free up as an open shooter. So, like, schematically, they do things that work, is what bothers me with Tibbs. Like, they do things and they do work, to what your point, Sean. We see it work. Even if the shots don't go in, we see the actions and we see them work. And then it feels like that creativity is not consistent. And that's what's a little bit disappointing because he is a brilliant head coach, Tom Thibodeau. He is a great head coach. Generally, his teams play hard, right? I mean, we saw that last year. They love him, right? But it seems like when, I don't know if things get tough is the right word, but it seems like, you know, a lot of times he just goes back to like doubling down on like, this is going to work. This is what we ran. Like, I'm going to run it again and again and again. And he does it until it works almost. And it's like, you just got to be a little bit more creative. But I just want to change gears a little bit because the first 20 games of this season has basically been the Knicks playing down or up to certain competitions, often down. But they wasted really an easy opening schedule. It's just what it is. They're still 9-7, 9-8 now. Let me just double check the standings. They're 9-8. They're in 7th. It's again. Look, the East is tough. There's more winning teams this year. Right now, Charlotte is 5th seed at 10-8, and then it's 5 straight 9-8 teams: Cleveland, New York, Boston, the Bucks, and the Sixers. So, like, it's not really the end of the world in like the full conference context, but at the same time, now you got to clean it up and fast. Okay, like now you got about 60-ish games left, and you really got to start to get going. And one thing I always bring up on this pod is that I don't like to panic until we get about a quarter of the way into the season, because now you start to settle on who guys actually are, who the team actually is. And now I'm starting to feel like we're just about there or getting there. And obviously, there's a lot of basketball left to be played. Teams get hot later in the season sometimes. Very possible they do, of course, not writing them off. But they got a tough schedule coming up. They got the Lakers coming to the Garden tomorrow. They got the Suns coming on Friday. Just went to the final Suns, right? They got
12 straight Suns.
12 straight Suns. I mean, this is not an easy basketball team. I feel like Chris Paul loves playing against us. We got Trae Young Saturday. We're going to Atlanta, right? So we got to play our opponent from last year. We got to go figure that out, right? So there's that. And then right after that, what do we have on next Tuesday? We got the Nets. I'm almost happy that they have a very difficult stretch coming up. And it's because, I say this a lot on this pod, you got to get punched in the face sometimes. They got to go get punched in the face now. This is a difficult stretch. Like, they know it. They see it. So you're staring it in the face. December doesn't get any easier. I'm not going to read the whole December schedule, but it's not exactly any easier. It's a lot of good teams again, especially to start the month. It's time to put up or shut up a little bit. You got to go win some games. We can't always look at a game and go, "Oh, it's the Cavs. We got to win this one." And then again, they should, but if they don't, then we get upset about it. All right, well, you're still a good team, so you got to beat some good teams too. It's not always just about, "Oh, I can't wait till we get a soft spot in the schedule. We can pencil in some wins." I hate that shit. If you're a good team, get up for the good teams then. Like, okay, you guys fucked around a bunch of winnable games. You lost 2 to the Magic, you should have won. You let Ricky Rubio go off for damn near 40 points, had the night of his life in New York. Like, okay, you guys blew opportunities. Even this last game against the Bulls, everybody but Julius misses. You guys blown a lot of opportunities here, man. So that's your fault. And now you got to dig your way out. So now you got a bunch of hard games coming up. Unfortunately, LeBron didn't get suspended for the Malice in the Palace Part 2, it seems, which is I think we need to openly write a letter as fans collectively. I think we need to push for this. This type of action can't be tolerated in our game on a basketball court. I saw Isaiah Stewart with a bloody orbital bone. He could have gotten it fractured. His mouth was bleeding. Is this really the standard we want to set for our children watching the game, Sean? I think LeBron needs to be suspended at minimum for tomorrow night, possibly 15 games. That's all that I'm going to say. I'm going to write an open letter to Adam Silver tomorrow. I've had enough. It's a sickening thing that LeBron gets to get away with this stuff again. Sickening.
Yeah, my kids haven't been this upset since they saw Cam Newton dab. So they definitely LeBron needs to be disciplined so that this is
immediately.
Yeah, no, but it's funny how I just knew they were going to suspend him. So them finding Isaiah Stewart almost $1 million so they don't have to suspend him to justify it they're not suspending LeBron is hilarious to me. Because Madison Square Garden, national television, LeBron James, he wasn't getting suspended.
Never, not a chance. They would have been playing.
Not for Isaiah Stewart.
No. There's absolutely no chance. I still can't believe that happened. We could spend a minute on that. This is gonna be all mixed up all the time. But that was, I said it before the pod was recorded. But that was an insane. I'm always on my phone. Everybody knows this. Always on my phone. Always checking Slack. Always seeing what's going on. I put my phone down for 1 hour. I come back. I'm seeing tweets. LeBron punched this guy in the face. I'm like, what is going on? I check Slack. I see all the clips in the Knicks wall Slack about what happened. I understand why Isaiah Stewart got mad. It did. I'm not going to say it was like an intentional swing per se, but like, when you're like carelessly, like not carelessly careless, like.
Yep.
I'm not trying to hit you, but if you get hit, hey, I wasn't trying to hit you in the face, but I was trying to hit you somehow. Like I was trying to get into you a little bit. That's what I saw. And then the way that I look at it is if somebody makes you bleed, typically you got a pretty good case to be angry. So, all jokes aside from the previous ramble, but I understood why Isaiah Stewart was mad. I thought it was a little bit theatrical. I thought, typically in the NBA, guys never really want to fight. Is the infamous Lonzo Ball line. Nobody's actually going to fight. It's the NBA. And he's right. I thought Isaiah had if he really wanted to get LeBron, I think you always got instantaneous, bro. You got hit in the face right away. Attack, go out immediately. Don't wait for like the refs to figure out that you guys have a tussle, and then you get into it, and then everybody holds you. And in fairness, I think he eventually did lose his mind and really want to get after LeBron because it was like 3 separate swim moves, trying to get away to get to LeBron. I think Cade was blocking better than
Cade's
anybody.
done a great job.
Better than anybody in the Jets' offensive line. It was the most tremendous thing I've ever seen. Isaiah Stewart is a mammoth of a man, and Cade just got back from the sprained ankle, and he's over here really just pass blocking, amazing stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was intrigued. I definitely thought the NBA was going to crack down harder. I didn't want them to I didn't actually want them to, but I was a little bit surprised that I was like, oh, mostly just fines and seems pretty tame, given the literal runaround of the whole court. It looked pretty chaotic, but sometimes you need a little excitement in the NBA, man. Sometimes you need a little bit. I mean, seeing the bloody pictures of Isaiah Stewart was not fun. I mean, Jess especially has been riding this beef stew agenda for the Knicks for a long time. That's her guy. But I mean, it was a little unfortunate. I thought he got hit in the face. When did he get hit in the mouth? Was it the same? It was the same pop.
It was the same pop. I'm pretty sure. It just was a very, very it looked like LeBron was trying to. It didn't seem like he meant to hit him in the face like that. Like it wasn't like a punch to the face, in my opinion. I believe that he was like pulling his arm away, but he did so maliciously, so it hit him in the face, and like he was leaking, like his entire face was leaking. I thought the Carmelo video was hilarious. Did you see that one? He's like, he's not coming over here because Isaiah Stewart like ran through the tunnel and everything, and everyone's like scared, like he was some madman on the loose. I had like flash when he was running through and Cade was trying to hold him back. I had flashbacks to the other side of that where Jared Jeffries was chasing Melo. I was like, wow, like when I forgot who it was that was holding his jersey back and it was like stretching across the whole court. And he was so yeah, but Melo's like, he's not coming over here. I think that was hilarious. But yeah, interesting thing. And not, the bloody image a little much, but the rest of it pretty entertaining. I don't think things like that are necessarily bad for the league. Of course, the league wants to clean it up as they should, but you need some excitement. It was cool for Sunday night.
Sometimes you got to lean into the drama. You need a little drama. We can't always have the same basketball drama every night. Great game, of course. I love the NBA every single night, but sometimes you need a little anger, man. You need a little mean streak. We're going to talk about it for a week. It's been a good year though for the drama. I do want to say, we got the Jokic, Marcus Morris. Did you see Marcus Morris is out like 15 games with whiplash or something like that?
Really?
Yeah, somebody sent that in Slack. I don't know if it was nonsense. If it's nonsense, I'm sorry, but I mean, was it nonsense? I feel like I got to look it up. That seems like a serious thing to throw out here on this podcast. Was it Marquise? No, it was
Markeith. It was Markeith. Yeah, I mean that's my rule. Like, if you don't want to hit me, if you don't want to be hit, don't hit me. Like, so I wasn't even mad at Jokic for that. Like, people were like, "Oh, he didn't have to hit him back that hard." It was like, bro, like, I don't think Nikola Jokic like knows how to hit softly. Like, I don't know. You just maybe if you don't want to get hit hard, don't hit bears. Like, that's it. It's pretty simple. Like, don't you can't maul him and then be like, "Oh, well, he should have mauled me politely." Like, or, "Oh, he shouldn't have hit me." They're like, "Oh, it's the cheap shot because he hit him from behind." Like, if you hit me, don't turn around. Like, that's your fault. Like.
No, I was correct. He's gonna miss at least 10 games with whiplash. So
that's wild.
That is wild, bro. But I mean, he got decked. He got leveled. That was wild, yo. I was watching that game live for no reason, and then because I remember I think the Nuggets were up big at one point, so I was like half paying attention. All of a sudden, you hear the announcers, "Oh, whoa!" And I was like, "What's going on?" And then I look and I see Morris on the floor. I was like, "What? This is unbelievable. What could have possibly happened?" I rewind 15 seconds and I see. I mean, he did get hit hard though. When you're not looking and you get blindsided from the back, I mean, at the same time though, shouldn't have turned around. You shouldn't have turned around. You shouldn't have kept your back turned. This is an Eastern European man. I mean, they play with knives and fight bears for fun over there. I mean, that's not the guy that you run into and then pretend nothing happened. Hit him
at all.
Hit him and then be aware at least. Like, all right, well, now what are we gonna do? You want to square up, but that's not the man, not the family you want to mess with. Not a good situation.
It is not Jokic's fault that you turned your back. Like, I don't know. Someone was like, some Heat fans in my mentions like, "Oh, really?" Because I was like, "Oh, if you hit me, if you don't want to be hit, don't hit me." And some Heat fans was like, "Oh, you wouldn't be saying that if it was Julius." I was like, honestly, If Julius decided to attack a bear and the bear attacked him back, I'd be worried for his safety. But like, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at the bear. Like, it is what it's plain and simple. Like,
Correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't know how you feel, but I feel as long as you're pushing, even if it's a very violent and aggressive push, I feel like it's that to me in basketball, that's fair. Because most guys don't ever want to throw a punch, right? Punches, kicks, shit like that. Generally, we know where the line is, right? But guys love pushing and shoving, right? So if you're gonna come running into somebody, that's a hard push to me. You run into somebody, I'm not gonna sit here and say dirty elbow. To me, it didn't look that dirty. It was just like a really hard kind of
he bowled him in his ribs.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
it was a hard like a body type shot. You know what I mean? And then
yeah, rib
all
shot.
right, so if you then get pushed back, to me, now we're square. If you don't like how you got pushed the second time, you shouldn't push the first time. But it's not like if he sucker punched him something like that, then yeah, I understand. Like a punch, you know what I mean? A legit punch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. I would have been outraged about it with the Jokic thing, but like to me, it was a push for a push. Jokic didn't see Morris coming the first time either. He came behind him on an angle, up into his ribs a little bit. Okay, and now you didn't see Jokic do it to you. I thought that was as eye for an eye as it gets. You know, like
Pretty fair to me. Hope Markeith's okay, but
recover from whiplash, buddy. You know, but that's. I mean, what else you got? Anything else on your mind here?
Well, I feel like we complained about the Obi thing already. It just doesn't make sense that he only got 15, didn't get 15 minutes with people being out. He's playing really well. He needs to play. We're debuting the black uniforms with the black court.
We are.
That's going to be really cool. I don't think we've ever done like a cool court thing. I've watched a bunch of other franchises do it, and we've never done it. So I'm very excited for that. That should be really interesting. And the black jerseys are very cool. It's very nice that, we asked for black jerseys our entire lives, and we got cool ones.
We got them last year, and obviously they didn't do the court last year. We just played in the blue court, which normally I don't mind when they don't change the Knicks court. Now that the paint is blue again for the last X amount of years, because I just didn't like it when the paint was orange, and then we had no cool jerseys. I was getting really upset with that repeated annual development. But I like that they're being a little bit more aggressive with leaning into the black, because I feel like we said it on this pod a lot of years, but New York is supposed to be like Gotham, right? Like sleek, whatever. You got to lean into that element. And that's why I think a lot of us gravitated towards one of those 90s road jerseys to come back with the black stripe on them. And, even if we're still waiting for that, which, Knicks, I know you're listening, please just bring those back. You've teased us in a couple different graphics and ways. We've waited long enough, man. We need to have those 90s jerseys back. We miss them. Those, to me, are the best jerseys, period, that you guys have made. Aside from some of I think it's the 80s ones that I like too. But just these ones I like. I thought they kept it simple. That's what we've been asking for with these ones that are going to debut tomorrow. They kept it simple. Last year, they tried to get nuts. They tried to do that paint blend of colors at the top, the orange that goes into the blue, into the white. It's just keep it simple, because if you keep it simple with the black jersey, you win. That's how this works. You win every time. People love black jerseys. Keep it simple. So what they do, they gave us the nice, beautiful orange number, the white outline to it, New York on the front, no frills, no nonsense. Even the blue, they toned down the blue. They only put it, I think, in the middle slot on the piping. That's fine. To me, that's fine. And you know what's going to happen? Tomorrow they're going to go out, they're going to play on a black court, and it's going to pop. Everything's going to look really crisp. I haven't seen it. I need to see it on the broadcast thing. I need to be watching the game while they're playing it. But I was really impressed, man. I got to say, I'm very hard to please with the jerseys. My first reaction, even if I end up turning around on them, I always look at them and go, I hate this immediately. Immediately, I don't like this. Maybe I'll warm up to it. I really liked them. As soon as I saw them, I really liked them. I thought the shorts were great too. They had the garden.
The garden silhouette, that was really cool.
I thought that was a better touch than sometimes they try to do like the skyline thing with the lines on the sides of the jerseys, which, I appreciate the try, but stick to your element, stick to the black, stick to the garden itself. I'm very pleased by it, man. I'm going to order a jersey. I don't know which one. I've been deciding. Guys are playing like shit right now, so I haven't decided to give them my money. Just off principle, you guys got to start stringing a few together, and then I'll throw you my 100 beans with these. But I mean, you can't go out there and stink it up tomorrow. That's all that I ask. I want to enjoy the uniforms. I want to enjoy this court. We never get them to experiment to this degree, and we got it. I just need please win. And if you don't win, give us a great game where guys mostly look like themselves. Not everything's always about a win. I just need to see that you guys are playing the right way. But please, you don't stink. Remember when we got the orange jerseys the last time?
I was just about to say that, and then we tucked them away forever because we were 0-6.
Well, what was was it the Spurs was the last loss? Which was the last loss they had? I forget. It might not have been the Spurs, but
I think it was the Bulls. I remember we played the Bulls in the orange jerseys, and it just went really poorly, and we were just like, all right.
I mean, why would we decide to play a red and white team with orange jerseys? That's just like a clash from hell, you know what I mean? I don't get that. Oh, hold on. We spoke too soon about the suspensions, my friend. LeBron James has been suspended 1 game. Isaiah Stewart has been suspended 2 games. Shams just tweeted.
Wow.
Well. So the Carmelo homecoming, the plot thickens because I'm assuming he's going to be slid right back into the starting role. I mean,
wow.
They did it. Wow. We were, Adam Silver, whoever our FBI agent is that's tapped into my internet that was sending this directly to Adam Silver's office. Thank you. Prayers are up. LeBron got suspended. We get 1 break. We finally got it. Wow. They really did it.
Yeah, I did not see that coming at all. That's pretty shocking. Shout out to them. All right, yeah, so it's now the Melo game. And we have to make sure we contain Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. I need a dub. I don't care who's playing or not. Like you said, we can't waste this. We're unveiling the new court, the new uniforms. It's too cool. It'll be a really good moment to have on national television to really be successful on this night. Shout out to Steve Stout. When we first had that thing announced, we hired him or whatever for creative stuff. For a long time, nothing was happening. We were all pointing that out. But things are happening. Like the Kith partnership is pretty cool. The new court is dope. The uniforms are dope. So it's nice to see the Knicks being creative, and he was the person hired to be like the creative director. So shout out to him for that. But yeah, shout out to the league for spending LeBron. We got to take it. If we lose to the Lakers without LeBron, I'm going to be pretty upset.
Nah, no, seriously, no. Like without LeBron, like even with LeBron, they've looked a little bit suspect. I mean, I feel like LeBron teams, especially in his latter years, always start really slow, and then it's mostly about the last 4 months they pick it up, and then they're fine mostly. But I feel like again we say this every year, but they look especially bad right now, and you just got to strike while the iron's hot, man. You don't look good. They don't look good, and no offense. I know Anthony Davis just had a great game against the Pistons, and I know that it seemed like they finally got a little bit more motivated to play after the incident with Stewart and LeBron. But it feels like a lot of games are not motivated, man. They're just like us. They come out here, they float around, they do nothing. They just come out and they want to coast for a while. Take advantage, man. Anthony Davis is made of glass. Anthony Davis does not want to bang, and Anthony Davis is not about it on a consistent night-to-night basis. I feel like that's not brought up enough. There's always those silly Giannis or AD. Who would you rather? It's Giannis every time in a heartbeat. I'm not even thinking about it. It's not even a question, in my opinion. So yeah, go out there, beat Anthony Davis up, man. He doesn't want to play the 5. He gets beat up. He doesn't want to play the 4. I mean, I don't know what he wants anymore. He just, he's got 1 good game. He goes 30-15 with 6 blocks, and then he's quiet for a week. So, let's start the week that way tomorrow. But
yeah.
Wow. No, I'm surprised they did a suspension. I really am. I thought he was just going to get the fine. That was going to be it. But I mean, hey, he's ducking the Knicks. I think he called in a league favor. He said, "I can't go over there tomorrow. They're going to be too excited. They're unveiling the black jerseys, and I just want to be a spectator." And I think that's what we got. So it is what it is. But that's about all I got. And as always, just make sure you're following the Knicks wall. You guys have been doing a great job. You got us over 40,000 followers. We got to drop the Kurt Thomas tribute video. I was very happy about that. We had that in the pipeline for a while. Couldn't have been anybody else but Kurt. So the next milestone is 50. I know what you guys are thinking.
Sweetney.
I know what you guys are thinking. You can't possibly do Michael Sweetney. You guys, there's no way you will go there. There's no way you can even compile enough highlights to make a Michael Sweetney tribute. And to that we say, challenge accepted. We'll see you in 10,000 followers. There's no chance you do Zach Randolph. It's only going to be Michael Sweetney. Everybody knows ahead of the time. The cat is out of the bag. Somehow, some way, it's going to be a Michael Sweetney tribute. That's it. That's it. Good luck. I mean, good luck. I mean, that's what we're going to do. So, what was the best? Sean, do you have a Michael Sweeney memory you want to throw away well ahead of 50K here?
It was really nice when I was able to go to Knicks games back then and appreciate Michael Sweetney as he struggled for front court minutes with Othello Harrington and Clarence Witherspoon, and they all looked the same from where I was sitting.
Really takes me back, man. My my favorite Michael Sweetney memory is nothing that he did on the court. One of my good friends at school at the time, he was like, "Oh, I got a new Knicks jersey," and I was like, "Great, what is it?" He's like, "I'll show you in the morning." We go to the bus stop in the morning. It's a white Michael Sweetney jersey, and my question was simply, "Why?" And he's like, "It's the new draft." And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Well, it's the new draft pick." And I was like, "Yeah, but did you
Hey, man.
did you see? Did you see any of him at all, even briefly?" And
Top 10 pick in the 2003 draft. One of the greatest drafts ever.
We've been through some shit, man. I mean, every time I get upset about like the 9 and 8 like starter, or like when we struggle a little bit, I'm like, I mean, we willingly started and paid a lot of people that shouldn't have been professional basketball players. So I try to. It's been worse, but yeah, I mean, so we will get you the guys that Michael Sweetney tribute video, of course. I'm very excited for it. We shattered 40,000. Very excited to get to the next 10K. But seriously, appreciate you guys following, of course. Best followers in the world. Even when you DM us thinly veiled threats telling us that these losses are our fault, which at times they are, at times they are not. But it is what it is. We're part of this roller coaster together. So appreciate you guys being part of the ride this entire time. It's been a big throw. But make sure you guys keep following. Going to theknicksworld.com, read it. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this podcast, giving it a 5-star rating and review, and just stay tuned on a number of fronts. Done a great job, of course, supporting us with the merchandise. Brian Gray, Dom, a lot of guys that put a lot of work into these things, but we have more things we're cooking up. And normally when we say that stuff, we do fun things. You've gotten a lot of games and apps and things in the past. I can't say specifically what may be coming, but just stay tuned because we like to give you guys more than the average website, more than the average podcast, more than the average blog, whatever you want to call us. We get called a lot of things. But at the end of the day, we do this so you guys can have a fun basketball experience, even if you don't agree with us. So stay tuned. I don't know when things are going to drop. I just know that things are going to be coming. We're working on stuff very, very hard right now. So be ready. Stay tuned. If you are going to place your orders, though, for the merchandise, and I'm going to put the link out probably either tonight or tomorrow, get the orders in immediately. I'm going to, either 20, 25% off for Black Friday. Whole store will be on sale again. I'm going to have a couple ugly Christmas sweaters in there and then, have at it. But place your orders quickly. There are still supply chain issues. Things have eased up slightly, but still, you don't want to take any chances. If you were doing this for a gift or for yourself, just ahead of time, earlier the better. If you wait until December, especially that after that first week, I mean, you're probably not going to get it ahead of just the way that things are right now. I sound like a broken record, but a lot of you guys do order, and I just want to make sure you guys are aware of this as you're placing your orders. I'm not trying to take your money. You don't get it for Christmas, and then you're upset. I'd be upset too. I don't want to have anybody upset here. So I'm going to put this stuff out. Place your orders now. Just get it out of the way. Save you some money. Have a good holiday. We all ride off into the sunset. So designtree.com/thenixwall. Check everything out. Wait for me to put the link out with the coupon code. Save you some money. We'll go from there. But aside from that, we'll talk to you guys next time. Hopefully, after we beat the dog shit out of a LeBron-less now Lakers game tomorrow.
Breaking news on the TKW pod.
Really, I mean, this is just what we do, Sean. It's just breaking news here, apparently. So, but yeah, I mean, look, everybody, I hope we have the same agenda tomorrow. Last thing I'm going to say before we get out of here: Carmelo, 30-piece, and a Lakers loss. That's all that we want to see.
Need it.
Right? Okay, so on that note, we will talk to you guys tomorrow, hopefully after a win, and we'll go from there. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Adios.